I'm holding a piece of outer space right now. This is a meteorite that fell to Earth. It came from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter originally. And this particular meteorite fell in the small town of Bennold, Illinois, which is about 40 miles outside of St. Louis, Missouri. My name is Jim Holstein. I'm a collection manager of physical geology and meteorites at the Field Museum here. On September 29, 1938, Ed McCain had his Pontiac parked in his garage. He went into the garage to look at his car to start it up. He noticed that there was a hole in the seat of his car. He became angry, brought his neighbor over, Carl Crum, and they looked at it. He was commiserating about rats in his garage eating up his car. His neighbor looked up and saw a hole in the roof. And that's when they realized something had crashed through the roof of the garage, crashed through the roof of the car, crashed through the seat, bounced off the muffler, and then back into the seat and got caught by the seat springs. So they had to go in with wire cutters so they can actually remove the meteorite. And that's when they realized they had something truly special. It weighs about 4 pounds. It wasn't the same shape in space. It actually got its shape mainly from entering the atmosphere. We distinguish meteorites between falls versus finds. If you're walking around somewhere and you pick up a rock, it turns out to be a meteorite, that's a find. If it's witnessed by somebody, that's called a fall. So this was the second fall in the state of Illinois, but also the first meteorite to ever strike an automobile. Most of these fall into the ocean. We're 70% water, so most meteorites fall into the ocean. The ones that do make it to land usually fall in open spaces, and typically they're found in hot or cold deserts. A lot of rocks on Earth look like meteorites, and people pick them up and they think they actually have something from outer space. We call those meteorongs, however. And so they would bring them to the museum, we would look at them, tell them they have a meteorong, and sometimes they're very unhappy about that because they think they have something truly special. Meteorites are extremely rare. We get a lot of really good stories here at the museum. The first telltale is when people say they saw a streak of light and then they saw the meteorite fall. The streak of light takes place in the atmosphere up to 80 miles high. So if you see a streak of light, it still has dozens, if not hundreds of miles to go before it actually falls. The second telltale when someone says they picked it up and the rock was still hot. It was leaving a smoking crater. These things are not hot when they fall. It gets burnt up in the atmosphere rapidly, but it still has the coldness from outer space that the heat doesn't permeate. There's been documented cases of people picking up a fresh meteorite that had just fallen. They had to drop it right away because it was so cold. The closest I have ever come to finding a meteorite was during the 2010 Mifflin Fall in Wisconsin. This is an event where an object the size of a car entered the atmosphere. It exploded. The pieces then rained down on the small farming community. So I went up there to talk to a middle school. So I had all the kids line up in a row and walked across a field behind the school, and they're crawling on their hands and legs, and the reporter's asking them, "What are you looking for?" Like, "We're looking for meteorites." We get to the end of the field, and this first grader actually picks up one and says, "Is this a meteorite?" And I said, "Yes, it is a meteorite." So the closest I've ever come to finding a meteorite was training a first grader to find one. He found one right in front of me. Some of these meteorites are the oldest materials to condense out of our solar nebula. Basically, we're trying to understand the beginnings of our solar system and what happened before our solar system even formed. So meteorites are basically time capsules of that time period that tells us a lot about where we came from.